It feels good to sit down. You can't tell, but only this area of the room is clean right now. Everything else is a mess. Hi, I'm Melissa Case from Hat to Hem, and here we go again. So I swore that after the mad dash to finish Laura Ingalls Wilder a few years ago, and the failed attempt to make a Regency dress last year, that this year would be different. This year I would start our Halloween costumes in September, and I would have plenty of time, and there wouldn't be this mad dash to get everything done. And I got a commission that I have worked on for longer than I expected, and which I shipped out today, a few hours ago. So where does that leave us? It leaves us here with just over a week until Halloween, and we have plans this weekend. So I have less than a week to get both costumes done, and I've yet to start them. Why am I like this? I've got this. Right? I am already so tired. This is not off to a good start. Also, starting at 1 a.m. might not be the best decision in the world. Oh, I should probably tell you who we're being. We are being Mary Poppins, Bert, and a baby penguin. I'm really excited for this. I have been planning this costume for a very long time, and the fact that we are finally working on it is wonderful. I say we, it's me. My husband's on baby duty while I work. But the fact that we're actually doing this is really exciting to me, and I am very happy to be working on this, even though I am also very tired. So what do I need to do? I need to make my dress from scratch. I need to paint Evan's entire jacket, and I have to alter both hats. So, will it be a jolly holiday? Find out after I tell you a little bit about this video's sponsor, Ana Luisa Jewelry. Mary Poppins always liked to look her best, and now you can also look your best with Ana Luisa Jewelry. I've been using Ana Luisa Jewelry since January, and I'm very happy with them. Their pieces all still look just as good as they did when they were coming out of the box. In fact, I still have not gotten my wedding rings adjusted. So I actually have been wearing their rope mini adjustable ring almost every day for several months now, and it's not showing any sign of wear or tarnish. I now own several of their pieces, including this Ursa Rouge necklace and their Val Rose earrings. I actually got 2 sets just so I can mix and match. I tend to favor pieces that are on the dainty side, but they have a range of styles available, so I'm sure you'll be able to find something that suits your taste. Their pieces can be worn alone or layered for a striking effect. You can build so many unique combinations with their pieces or with things that you already have in your jewelry collection. They use recycled materials whenever possible, including with their shipping materials. Their 14 karat gold jewelry is made from recycled gold, their sterling silver jewelry is made from recycled silver, and the plating that they do uses eco brass. They also set off 100% of their carbon emissions. If you go on their website, they're very transparent about what makes their company tick and what their processes are, and also about what their mission is, and it's refreshing to have a company that is that transparent. I know what you're thinking, jewelry can be expensive, and that can be true, but not with Ana Luisa. Because they sell directly to the consumer, there are no luxury markups. Their prices start at $39. On top of that, they are currently having their biggest sale of the year, buy one, get one 60% off, and I am absolutely eyeing some pieces for my cousins. Just be warned, because of their dedication to sustainability, they only produce their pieces in small batches, so they tend to sell out quickly. You can check out their pieces by clicking on the link in my description. Alright, let's sew. The first thing I did was drape the front of the under bodice. The bodice was made up of 2 parts, the opaque underlayer and the sheer overlayer. I actually just refer to them as the tank top and the sheer bit, so I might just stick to that for the rest of the video. Anyway, I marked the neckline, arm side, and side seams with a pencil, which I cut out and used as my pattern. I cut 4 pieces of the back panel and 2 of the front panel on the fold since I was using the same fabric for my lining. The front panel was a little too wide, so I added a seam to the center front to take it in. I'm not usually this off when I drape a bodice for myself, but this is the first garment I've made for myself since the baby was born, and I'm still getting used to my post-baby body. I sewed up the straps, pressed them open, and attached the main fabric and lining fabric together at the neckline. I clipped the curve of the neckline every inch or so. I pressed it off camera before stitching up my side seam. For the record, most of my pressing for this project was done off camera because of the time crunch. The neckline was top stitched to keep the lining in place. At this point, the opening of the bodice was at the armhole and the bottom. I opted to turn the bodice inside out and serge the armhole closed. Because of the sheer overlayer, no one will be able to see that I took a shortcut. I also serged the bottom for good measure. Alright, so it is now 3:10 in the morning, and I have a bodice lining. The main bodice is made out of a transparent fabric, so this forms the base of the actual dress. So it's a lining, but it's seen. It's also a lined lining, so that's extra fun. A little bit of top stitching to keep everything together. So hopefully this will be enough. This is actually part of the costume I didn't make last time. Last time my I guess bodice lining was made out of a tank top that I bought, which would have been the smarter thing to do here, but oh well. Alright, so it is 3:10 in the morning, so I think I should probably go to bed, but hopefully I'll be able to get a lot done tomorrow. We'll see. I think my main goal for tomorrow is going to be to try and get the top of the dress done, or at least get it assembled. We'll see how that goes. You like my bright background lights? All my filming is usually done at night because of the baby, so I invested in some lighting to try and illuminate the workspace a little bit better to make my footage a little clearer. Anyway, part of me is a little sad that this is as far as I got tonight. I had a feeling I would, and really my only goal was to get that under bodice thing done. But the other part of me is like, I need to get done. I should have gotten more done, and I really need to be kinder to myself. And I had to remind myself that because I was up until 7 in the morning, working on the commission that I shipped. I skipped out on the second half of my in-laws visit with the baby in order to finish the commission, and I got a lot done today, even if it wasn't on this particular project. And I need to remind myself that I did a lot. I did not get a lot of sleep, and I also have a baby. I still have a fairly new baby since he's only 6 months old. My time isn't 100% my own anymore, and that's okay. And the fact that I was able to carve out time to get a little bit done, even if it's less than I wanted to, is still a victory. Besides, I've made this dress before. I know I can do this. It's just a matter of concentrating and getting it done. So that's what I am going to do tomorrow. Because, you know, it's almost 3:30 in the morning. I'm on baby duty in 5.5 hours ish. Because my husband works from home, but I'm able to take care of the baby during the day, which is great. I love getting the time with him. Because my job allows me to make my own schedule. So sometimes I'm able to get stuff done while he naps. Sometimes, usually I end up napping with him because babies take energy. but because my day job allows me to make my own schedule, and because this is something I can do at night, I can't complain too much. It's just my schedule is weird. My sleep schedule is not normal, and neither is my work schedule when I'm thinking about it. But that's okay. Alright, so it's time to pack up for the night and do my best tomorrow. I need to make the bodice. The outer bodice. The actual shirt-y part. I already have a pattern for sleeves cut out. I actually am using the same sleeve pattern I used for the commission, so that's one less thing I have to do. My husband actually took care of the pattern for the skirt, which is a huge help. I need to make the skirt. I need to do all the ruffles on the skirt. Fun. I need to do the hat because this isn't exactly Mary Poppins-y. I mean, it has elements, but it's not quite the direction I want to go. I want to go a little bit closer. So I need to do that. My husband's coat needs to be altered and painted. My husband has many talents. Painting is not one of them, so I don't know if I trust him to do that. I also have to fix his hat band, but hopefully I can get that done fairly easily and then work on my dress while the jacket and hat band are drying in between coats on Saturday. Am I crazy? I think I'm a little crazy. Alright, I've been talking too long. I need to go to bed. Especially because I'm pretty sure you didn't click on this video to just watch me ramble. Although maybe you did. I don't know. Alright, bed. The next day, I was able to start on the sheer fabric, cutting out the fabric and finishing the edges with French seams. Unfortunately, after about an hour of work, I was too tired to continue. The next 2 days weren't much better. I cut out these lace appliques into smaller pieces, and that was pretty much it. To be fair, I did cut out a lot of the appliques, and I ended up having more than enough for this costume. Each applique was placed by hand and sewed by machine. It wasn't the cleanest method, but it was a lot faster than doing it by hand. I finished the seams with French seams and quickly hemmed the bottom of the sleeve. I cut a long piece of lace in half since I didn't need scallops on both ends. I then attached it to the bottom of the sleeves. If I was going for perfect accuracy, I would have garroted it first, but I was too concerned about running out of lace. In this case, being finished was more important than being accurate. I didn't have the right kind of beading lace on hand, so I cut openings in a piece of lace hem facing. I attached it to the bottom of the lace, encasing a bit of red ribbon as I sewed. I ran a row of gathering stitches on top of the sleeve so I could gather it into the armhole later. Alright, it's Monday. It's 1:20 in the morning, and we kind of have sleeves. They are both assembled, they're just not attached yet. I'm thinking I probably should be doing the rest of the bodice work before I put the sleeves on, just because they tend to get in the way. It needs a collar. I need to take it in down here so it's a little more fitted. But yeah, we are getting there. I need to figure out how the back closure is going to work, which is always fun, but that is a problem for future Mel. But yeah, I made good progress this time, which is good because I made no progress over the weekend because we weren't home for a good chunk of it. But that is okay. We are back in business. So, trying to decide what makes the most sense to do next. I might at least get the skirt lining sewn up just so I know what that's going to look like, and just so this looks a little less sad, because I think actually making it look like I've made progress will make a bit of a difference to my motivation. So yeah, let's do that. Right, so I'm working on cutting out the lining and realizing that this is an uncommonly narrow fabric. I guess I thought it was folded when I bought it. Maybe. Because I did buy this one in person. I guess my only option is to well, I mean, one of the options is to piece it, but that's gonna take forever. So if I can manage it, I will open the fabric out flat and then cut out the panels that way. It's supposed to be 7 on the fold, but if I can get 14 not on the fold, that might be best case scenario, if I can make it stretch. Luckily I will be able to turn it to make it as efficient as possible, but it's a lot more seams than I was expecting. That's alright though. As long as I can get them all to fit, we'll be golden. That feels like a big if, but we'll see. So I cut out the first piece, and I have roughly the same amount as it would have been on its own, I guess. So, I feel okay about having enough yardage. Thank goodness. So I'm going to cut out the rest of these pieces. I have 13 more to go. Oh my goodness. But, yeah, I'm gonna work on that. I'm sure I should be saying more, but it's been a while since I've done a vlog style video. So yeah, I guess I need to get back in the zone of this. So I got all 14 pieces cut out, and they are all paired so that the straight edge is paired up to another straight edge, so I'll be able to make all 7 panels. I did this while watching The Queen's Gambit on Netflix. Not sponsored or anything. To my knowledge, Netflix doesn't do sponsorships, I think. But I've been watching the series very slowly, and I just watched the penultimate episode, and to stop right now is kind of killing me. But it is, from what I can tell, after 3 in the morning. Actually, it's closer to 4. So I should probably wrap this up for the night, although I think I want to at least sew the panels together so that I have 7 panels instead of 14. So I'm going to do it real fast, and then I think I'm going to head to bed, unless I sew the 7 panels together, which, I mean, at that point, might as well. So I think I'm going to do that. Alright, a little more work. Okay, I'll admit, it looks a little frumpy, but trust me, this is going to look amazing when it's done. Alright, amazing might be overselling it, but it's going to look nice. I sewed all the panels together. The back seam is still open because that's just... I didn't want to deal with how far the opening should go tonight because I'm pretty tired now. And obviously it still needs to be pressed. All my seams need to be pressed. The actual fabric needs to be pressed. But it's a start. It looks more interesting than it did when I started this evening. So, I'm satisfied enough. So, this will look better soon. The next day, I started on the collar, which I cut from another pattern. I sewed the 2 pieces together and turned it right side out before I added lace to the top of the collar. I was able to clip it to the bodice to check the fit. Don't mind the baby sleeping against my back. I attached the collar to the bodice and then added lace and ribbon in the same way I added it to the cuffs. I also made a little bow for the center front of the collar, though I didn't attach it just yet. Now that that side quest is over, it's back to the skirt. Yes, all that was to procrastinate on hemming the skirt. So while I had enough lace trim for this lining, I definitely don't have enough for the ruffles that are going underneath it. At least the bottom row of ruffles does have a bit of lace trim, which is not something I did last time when I made this dress. I'm going to have to run to the store tomorrow and buy more lace. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to put the sleeves onto the bodice and then wrap it up for tonight. Once I got the sleeve in the correct position, I gathered the top and clipped it down before attaching it by machine. Alright, so we have sleeves attached to the bodice, we have a collar, we have a bow made for later, we have a pressed skirt, and we have lace on the hem. So that is the end of today because it's 3 a.m. and I should go to bed. I have a feeling I'm going to be up pretty late tomorrow, so that'll be fun. The next day, October 28th, I ran to Joann's. After getting slightly distracted, I was able to get the lace I needed. Have I mentioned that I also need to paint my husband's coat? Because I do. yet I am still putting it off. Instead, I started on cutting out ruffles. Okay. I feel like I've kind of hit a wall when it comes to motivation for working on this. Which is a shame because I've been looking forward to making dress for a long time. I'm just tired. I'm a little out. I started this coming off of a really big commission that took months. And I probably should have taken a break between that project and this project, but I literally finished that project last week. So here we are. And this dress needs to get done by Saturday. It is currently late Wednesday. Closer to Thursday than Wednesday, if I'm gonna be honest. I need to get this done. I'm at the point of ruffles. I probably should measure out the skirt and figure out exactly what the length of these ruffles should be, but I really don't want to. The pattern just says cut 44 to 47 on fold, which sounds not helpful, especially because I cut off the bottom layer of this skirt. If you look at the pattern, it kind of had different dotted lines as a tier to show. Hang on. You can see how the pattern had kind of different tiers to it to show where the ruffles should be sewn onto. I actually just completely cut off the bottom because I am short. I am quite short, so that would have been way too long. Maybe not if I was trying to make a full-length dress, but this one's a bit shorter, so that was the best option for me. I also don't think I'm going to be making ruffles all the way to the top. I don't have enough fabric. I bought what I could get. I actually bought a full bolt of this fabric because it was the easiest option and it was right there. But it wasn't, even the full bolt was not enough to get the yardage for this. So I'm not intending to go all the way to the top of ruffles, especially because I don't think that's a good use of my time if I can help it. I'm also doing it a little differently. I am normally, with this pattern, you would cut the ruffle like this, fold it in half, and then sew it on like this. But I am kind of making most of the ruffles just this size anyway, or at least for the bottom layer I am. So my idea is I'm going to make the bottom layer ruffles this size, serge top and bottom, and then sew a little bit of lace to the bottom. And then the next layer I'm going to make this size, serge top and bottom, put lace in the bottom. That way they're both, at the hem. And then the ruffles above that, maybe I will fold in half, just give it the right thickness, I guess. Because these ruffles are going to do a lot to hold out that honestly quite limp looking skirt. I tried to divide it up. I think I need 4 of these strips for each ruffles. So I already cut out some of the larger ones. I'm going to cut out a couple of the narrower ones, and we'll see how that goes. It's that kind of project. Yeah, at the end of this, I have one more project planned for the rest of the year. It's not a particularly large scale one, so hopefully I can get a little bit of break between now and then. And hopefully that one won't burn me out. We'll see. Alright, I got ruffles to cut. The strips were sewn together, the bottom was serged, and the lace was attached. I adjusted the settings on my serger, and I was able to gather the top edge as I serged. The next step was to attach the ruffle to the skirt, but it turned out I had miscalculated something. So this is kind of insane. I sewed up 4 strips of this ruffle. It was over 15 feet long, and it looks very cute, but that 15-foot strip of fabric only covered half of the skirt. So I have a lot more work to do. The skirt is going to be so heavy. Alright, so I got the bottom 2 ruffles on here. My petticoat lighting, whatever item this is currently inside out because I wanted to be able to see my work because I worked hard tonight. It's currently 5:30 in the morning. I want to go to bed, and I think I will. Yeah, a lot of work, quite tired, more ruffles to go, and they're not even going to be seen. Yay. Alright, bedtime. On the 29th, I got to work on the remaining ruffles, ironing them and pressing the seams open. The result was a pretty heavy amount of fabric. I folded the fabric in half, wrong sides together, and I ran it through my serger, and ran, and ran. The result was a very long ruffle. I'll be honest, it felt like it took forever. I should have sewn the ruffle on in a series of circles, but I didn't. To save time, I ended up sewing the ruffle on in one long spiral. It made no difference to the dress or how it hung. The fabric I used has some stretch to it, so I attached it to a piece of twill tape to give it a little more stability. It was finally time to work on the sheer layers of the skirt. I had a lot of fabric, so I tore it into smaller sections that would be easier to work with. I wanted 2 layers, so I would need 14 panels cut on the fold. I took the appliques I cut earlier and I placed them on the skirt panels that would make up the top layer of the skirt. Each panel got 4 appliques, then all 28 appliques were sewn on by machine. Once the appliques were attached, I assembled the panels using French seams, did the same for the underlayer, and then I ran both layers through my serger to give it a narrow rolled hem. I love how light and delicate this fabric looks. Since I used 2 layers, you can't see the stitch lines from the ruffles on the lining. I attached the sear layers to the waistband. Removing the lining from my dress form resulted in this casualty. All that was left was to attach the skirt to the bodice and try it on. Alright, so it is 3 a.m. No, it's closer to 5 a.m. Anyway, the dress itself is done. I have some weird fit issues going on up here, but I don't care. It's gonna be covered by the little Jabot or whatever that thing is. The ruffly bit. It's gonna be covered by the ruffly bit. It's 5 in the morning. I'm not looking up how to pronounce it. But all in all, I'm pretty happy. I left some space here, which is good because it kind of helps with range of motion. Sleeves feel good. Skirt is appropriately fluffy. The skirt is honestly my favorite part of this, which is understandable. But it actually has a lot of weight to it because of the ruffles, and it works. Like, it makes me feel extra fancy. I love the way it makes the skirt move. It's all good. Originally, I was planning to get this done for tomorrow, which that's a yeah no. But I don't need it tomorrow because the original Halloween plan was canceled due to rain. Which is alright because it gives me a little more time to work on this. Right, so I need to do the waist thing. I need to sew this little bow on. I need the little bows that go around the bottom of the skirt. I have to do the hat. I have to do Evan's whole costume. His needs to be painted for the most part. So if I can find a way to do that maybe in my dining room so it's not taking space here, I can get that done. I mean, the front, the back, the sides, the arms, it's going to be a multi-step process, but it can dry while I'm doing other things, so I'm not too upset by that. It's just a matter of remembering to do it. I mean, at this point, I'm just glad that I could cross stuff off my to-do list. I probably should go to bed because it's after 5 in the morning, and I would like to be able to work tomorrow, as opposed to being half dead most of the day like I was today. So, that's that, and I'm just talking now because I'm tired. Alright, more work tomorrow. Right, so I am currently taking a very necessary break from sewing to work on my husband's jacket so he can be Bert. So what I've done is I've taken colored pencils and I've drawn stripes up and down here. And that will be my guide for painting these stripes. So I have red stripes that are about 2 inches, orange stripes that are about 1 inch, and then yellow stripes about 1.5 inches. My lines are not straight, but oh well. Hopefully nobody will notice when it's on a body. It's nearly 4 in the morning, and I'm making mac and cheese. Why am I making mac and cheese at nearly 4 in the morning? Because I've lost control of my life. Okay, I ate. I got a little more painting done. I'm gonna say if I can get this corselet done, that I will be okay to go to bed. I have to completely do my hat. I need to finish Evan's hat, which won't take long. I need to do the little bows around the dress. I need to do the ruffly thing. I have a little more work to do than I thought. It is what it is. The hat won't take long. The ruffly thing at the neck might take a little bit of time. The bows shouldn't take long. I think the thing that's going to take the most time will be the corselet, which is already started. So, might be okay. I guess we're going to find out. But yeah, it's already 4:30 in the morning. I'm tired. I would like to go to bed. I'm just talking because I'm procrastinating now. I'm quite tired. I'm tired. I don't want to do this. So I am talking to procrastinate. And the sleeves on Evan's jacket still need to be painted, as well as the collar. So that's fun. That's okay. Okay. Let's do this. I assembled the panels that would not have been piped seams. They were made of a red polyester with the matte side facing outward, flat lined to a panel of cortil. I trued up the lines that would make up the pipe seams and made the piping, which was a piece of cording encased in bias tape. I love how narrow the piping is. All the seams that didn't have piping were boned. I attached the lining to the top and bottom and turned it right side out before giving it a good press. Okay, it's 7 a.m. This is where we're at. This is where we're staying for a couple hours. I need to get some rest. And I think the baby just woke up. So that is done. There's just a couple of details left in the hat, and I am relieved. Because if nothing else, this is recognizable. I can throw together a little lace thing that's not accurate, redo it later. It's fine. Little bows, even if I just have them on the front, it's fine. We're at a point where we are at good enough. And you know what? That's all I can ask for at this point. Okay, bed. After only a few hours of sleep, I woke up late on the 31st and got to work on the hat. To get the hat down to its base, I cut away all the ruffles and trim. Then I sewed a ribbon around the middle of the brim to match the hat in the movie. I flattened the crown and quickly tacked it down by hand. Then I took a piece of tulle and I wrapped it around the top of the hat in a circle with a little bit sticking up in the back. I took a piece of the ruffle I cut off earlier and I pinned it to the brim of the hat to be the piece that goes under my chin. I only pinned it so it could be easily adjusted. I would have liked to add some wire to the edge of the brim to help it keep its shape, and I would have liked to flatten the crown in a nicer way, but this is good enough. The next step involved making the little bows to go around the skirt. I could have just quickly tied little bows and done with it, but the loops of the ones in the movie point downward. I was able to achieve that look by securing the loops with thread before wrapping the ribbon around the center to look like a knot. Because I wasn't doing as many bows, I wanted the ones I did make to look accurate. I attached the bows to the dress on the seams. I also sewed the bow to the collar as well. Meanwhile, I finished painting the jacket off camera. While my husband dried the paint with a hairdryer, I sewed the band to his hat. Upside down. We're just at the chaotic point now. The ruffly bit was made without rhyme or reason. I sewed the gathering stitches down the center of a discarded, missized bodice, which I then cut into a vague triangular shape. I quickly hemmed the edges before sewing a strip of folded lace right on top of the hem. I sewed on a flat piece of the same lace under which I encased a piece of pink ribbon. I attached it to the bodice by hand, off camera, and the dress was done. Just an hour before we left to go trick-or-treating. I really can't believe I pulled this off. This one was a real challenge. It was the first really tight deadline I've had since having the baby. My energy levels were all over the place, and trying to get 2 costumes instead of 1 done was a lot. Still, I'm happy with the result. Are there things I would change? Yes. Was accuracy sacrificed due to time? Also yes. But you know what? That's okay. I'm still happy. I still enjoyed wearing this costume, and at the end of the day, that's what matters most. Will our costumes next year be a lot easier? Possibly. We have a few ideas that we're tossing around. If you have any family Halloween costume ideas, leave them in the comments. Also, let me know if you enjoyed this video. Heads up, with the holidays coming up, my upload schedule might be a little sporadic. Speaking of the holidays, don't forget to check the link in the description to Ana Luisa Jewelry. Maybe you'll be able to check some names off your list. Thank you to my patrons on Patreon and Ko-fi for making this video possible. Thank you to my husband for his infinite patience and not judging me when I said you need to dry this with a hairdryer. And thank you to you for watching this video. Hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye!